Hello vaping world. Today I'm going to talk to you about these guys, 306 atomizers. These are used primarily for dripping, and I'll show you how to, for this specific atomizer, which is a Cisco spec low-res 1.5 ohm 306, you're going to have to debridge it in order to use it properly. So I'm going to show you how to do that, show you how to set it up with the drip shield, and show you the proper technique on how to use one in the way that's going to give you the best vape out of it. So yeah, let me first start by showing you what this looks like on the inside. Let me just do a quick little refocus here. Yeah, so it comes with this little black kind of casing on it, and that is, you know, the mouthpiece, but you're not going to use that, so go ahead, pull that off, throw it away. You don't need that. You'll never use it again. So let me do a quick focus here. Okay. Light's not so good there, but whatever, you can see. So that is what the atomizer looks like, and unlike a 510, the drip tip actually goes around the outside, and instead of fitting in the top of the barrel. There's no barrel on here. That's all that's there. But you can see that bridge there, and that's what we're going to be removing, because nobody likes bridges. The only reason to have a bridge on your atomizer would be if you're using, a cig-alike with, a cartridge. The cartridge would make contact with the bridge, and then that would wick your juice into the coil. But in order to get an enjoyable, I really can't tell if this is focused or not. In order to get an enjoyable vape out of this, we're going to have to pull that all out. So I'll show you how to do that, and I'm also curious about dewicking, and it's a pretty straightforward process, so I'll do that for you too, and we'll see what it's like. So let me just adjust the camera real quick and we'll get into it. Okay, here we are on the ever popular dirty vaping rag that everybody on YouTube, every vapor seems to have one. All you're going to need is a few basic tools. Obviously the atomizer, pair of tweezers, and you want these to have pointy ends. Pointier the better. These are actually a little bit blunter than I'd like them to be, but it's what I got, so we'll work with it. And a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers. This is going to be instrumental in ripping the bridge out. These are a little bit bigger than I'd like. A little bit pointier would be nice, but again, it's what I have. It works. Hopefully I don't destroy the atomizer. So a little bit of zoomage going on here real quick. There we are. And let me show you up close this bridge. There we go. So that's what we'll be removing, the bridge there. It's just some mesh, Alright, so first step, what we're going to do is, hopefully I'll be able to keep this in focus. Alright, so you take your tweezers, and you're going to want to go to the side right here, and what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and pull the actual mesh, and underneath the mesh is the actual bridge, which is a metal construction. So we're going to try and get the mesh off of the metal. So just kind of, where are we here? Take it, and you're going to want to poke into the mesh, just like this, and pull up, and you're gonna, there you go. So now we got this mesh flopping around there, and as you're doing this, the one thing you never want to do is you never want to touch the coil. You never want to move the coil. You never want to jar it in any way. So that's the one thing you got to be careful of. So then just take your tweezers, pull that mesh right out, and get rid of it. So now we're left with a bridge with less metal on it, and just keep doing this, get as much off as possible. And then what I like to do is I like to take my tweezers, go up into the bridge, just kind of poke them in just like that. You're actually going inside underneath the bridge like this, and then just kind of pull up, wiggle a little bit, take it, wiggle a little bit. And this is very similar to taking the safety off of a lighter. So you're just gonna wiggle a little bit, pull up, got a little bit more metal off there. That's cool. Alright, so now Now you can see the actual bridge. Let me just pull off this extra metal here. So there's the bridge. It's just a piece of metal. Alright, and let's continue to get that off. Wiggling and pulling. And more wiggling. And we'll go back inside. Kind of keep wiggling. And you can see all this wick here. I'm just going to grab this while I'm here and pull this all out. That wick just comes up into the bridge and wraps around to aid the juice flow in a cartridge configuration, so we can just get rid of all that. And there's still wick running through the coil, and we'll deal with that later. But you know, we'll just it just takes a little bit of patience and persistence in order to get the bridge out. And there we go. Bridgeless atomizer. What I did that really got it out was I put the tweezer through, and you're going to want to wiggle, pull it up, get it as loose as possible, and then when you can safely get the tweezers in without touching your coil, then you can pop them in. So that's how that works. And now we got this mess of wick right here. So I'm just going to work on pulling this all out. Alright, there we go. And there's also a little bit of metal on the sides here that's left from the bridge. Metal mesh, not the actual solid piece of metal. So you can also just take your tweezers and, you know, just pull this off, pull that out, pull it away. It'll rip out pretty easily. Same over here. Very simple. Very simple. Okay. So now, what we're left with, so let me make sure this is all focused. Now what we're left with, if you can see, is just that coil right there. The little bit of wick running through it. When I pull this into the computer and import it, if it isn't clear, I'll snap a picture and throw that in there, but you know, either way. Now we have a bridgeless Cisco 306. Okay, I'm back. I added one tool to my arsenal, a sewing pin. So, if you can see inside here, and hopefully you can, where is my focus point? Okay. The wick runs through the coil, and then goes through the coil, and then tucks up underneath the actual, I guess we'll call it a deck, to use words from the rebuildable world. So what I'm going to do is, let me adjust this light just a tiny bit. See if I can't get light directly down in there for you. There we go, that should help. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is take this pin, and again, I really can't tell if this is focused. Alright, yeah, so just take the pin and just pull that wick, just untuck it from the from underneath the deck. And you're definitely going to want to do this with a brand new, dry, never before been used atomizer, because as soon as this wick starts to get a little bit of juice on it, you're never going to be able to get it out. I tried with the atomizer that I'm currently using. It's just a mess. It gets brittle, it falls apart. So if you're going to do this, do it before you start using the atomizer. Alright, so let me flip around. Yeah, just, you know, take your time. Get as much of that wick up as possible. That side came up a lot easier. So, you know, if you're having trouble with one side, I obviously flip it around, try the other one. Then you're going to take your tweezers once again and just grab that little bit of wick. A little bit of wick. Yeah. See the little wick sticking up there? Just grab that and very carefully, to not disturb the coil, just kind of ease it out. And we'll flip it around over here, get what I got out here. Let me inspect where we are real quick. Alright, we're getting there. There's still a bunch of wick there, but I'd say we're about halfway. So, once again, pull up the wick. Again, you want to be very careful not to disturb the coil. If you touch the coil, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you don't want to dislodge that in any way, because you will not be able to fix it, and, you know, you'll be out $8 in the case of a Cisco atomizer. And by the way, these come from Avid Vapor. Empire also sells 306s. They come dewicked, but they're not Cisco spec. I don't know what that means in today's vaping world. In the days of old, the Cisco spec atomizers were much better than what, say, you know, Joytech was putting out. But I've been told that China's really improved their manufacturing. These are also made in China, but Cisco tells them exactly how to make them, and they make it to his specification, hence Cisco spec. So, you know, if that means anything, I don't know. I bought these. These were the first 306s that I bought. I liked them, so that's what I've stuck with. Let me take another look here. Alright, we're getting there. I'm going to continue picking at this. It's going to be the same process. Alright, I'm seeing the issue here. The wick is not very long there. It doesn't actually... Some of it tucked under, but what's left really isn't tucking under. And I'm running into an issue where my tweezers are not pointy enough. So definitely get the pointiest tweezers you possibly can if you're going to try and dewick this. Yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm going to be able to do there. Yeah, because I'm not going to be able to go in and grab it like that. It's just not pointy enough. Oh, wait, what's this? Okay. Alright, so I'm just sticking the tweezers in, pulling that wick out. Being very careful not to destroy the coil. But like I said, pointier tweezers would definitely be working better for this. Where is that focus? I'm using the a standard def monitor to watch the camera feed, and, you know, shooting with the high def camera and also being a CRT, when you're real close to it, it's difficult to tell what's in focus and what's not, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Do this side. Let's see what we got. Alright, there's still plenty of wick in there. I'm only going to continue at this for a little bit longer. This was an experiment on camera, and it doesn't really seem to be working out too well, mostly because of the lack of proper tools that I have. But, you know, if you want to try this, make sure you get the tweezers that you can stab into yourself. These are not gonna injure you at all, but you want the ones that you could jam into your hand and have to go to the hospital for. Those would definitely make this much easier. It would be a once and done. But, you know, I got probably 40 to 50% of that wick out, and, you know, I'm gonna roll with that. Alright. So I'm going to, there's our finished result. You've got just the coil there, and you got the wick there, a little bit of wick, less wick than normal. Bridge is totally gone, and this is ready to vape. So, let's move on to setting up the drip tip, drip shield, and then technique. Okay, so rather than showing you on the atomizer that I was just working on, I'm going to show you on my current setup. This atomizer is still working fine, so there's no reason for me to get rid of it and dirty up that atomizer before it's time. I also want to check it with the multimeter, make sure it still ohms out to 1.5, just to make sure I didn't mess up the coil or have it pop on me. So that's important. If you're going to be poking around with the coil, even on a pre-built atomizer, always keep a multimeter handy to make sure that you didn't do anything wrong, especially on a mechanical. So first things first, let's disassemble. I figure seeing it backwards and forwards will help. So pop out the atomizer, just kind of dry it off just a little bit. And this is a sealed 510 adapter, very important. Even if you have a sealed base, which these are not sealed, the ones that Empire sell are sealed, but even if the sealed one, you still need the sealed 510 to 510 adapter, because that allows the O-rings in the drip shield to go over, and then you have the actual holes where the atomizer will be drawing in liquid being inside the drip shield. So you do need a sealed 510 to 510. Alright, so here's our atomizer. There we go, just like that. Boom, boom. You've been seeing this for the past like 20 minutes, so you know what it looks like. First thing you want to do, take your drip tip, put it right over that barrel, just like that. Boom, done. Then you're going to take your 510 adapter, screw that in. And then you're going to take your power source, your device, your mod, your whatever, your ego battery, if that's your thing. Screw it right down on there. Then you take your drip shield, and this is an Empire drip shield. There's also generic ones that I have a plastic one, but it's downstairs. I don't have it with me right now. But as you can see, this side has sort of a bevel on the. Let me just focus. So it has a bevel right there on the inside. You can also see the O-ring, and then on the other side, the bevel's on the outside. You also, actually, the easier way to tell, holes, right? Holes go up. So you just take this, holes up, set it right over, just like that, and push it down until it snaps on. Boom. There you go. Drip shield. Alright, I'm going to change the camera so I can better show you dripping and technique. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to change flavor and also how to prepare your atomizer for proper storage. You don't want to leave juice in your atomizer because it will dry and then the flavoring is going to get all over that wick. It's going to get real nasty and it's really going to shorten the life of it. So, you're vaping. Pardon me while I vape because I haven't vaped while I was playing with it, so. Alright, that's enough of that nonsense. Alright, take it off your mod. You're going to want to get to the point where you have just the atomizer with the drip tip on it. So you take off the drip shield and you take off your 510 adapter. You're also probably going to want to wipe off the outside of the drip tip because it's going to get all juicy. Alright, so now let me go get a fresh rag so you can see. Okay, so here we have the ever handy dandy toilet paper. In the absence of paper towels, works very well. Alright, so you take your atomizer and you're just going to blow the juice out of it. This is if you're changing it or you're putting it away for a while. So I find it's best to breathe through your lungs, then also use your mouth to get the most pressure there. That'll do it the most efficiently for you. Yes, this is Ben's instructions on how to blow. Alright, what I've been doing as I do this is, okay, so I started, it's going to be difficult to see, let me change the shutter speed here. Okay, so now you should be able to see better. I started down here, this is the first time I blew through it, there's a second time, there's a third time. So as you can see, as you go, you can see the amount of juice drop off. So when you start seeing no juice there, what you're going to want to do is, pardon me once again, I'm very disorganized, is grab some PG. This works excellent as atty cleaner. Some vendors will sell, quote, atty cleaner, which is PG and a little bit of alcohol. You don't need to spend money on that. Just grab yourself some PG. I went into my local vendor and just asked them to hook me up with like 15 mils, and they gave it to me for free. Didn't even charge. It is the cheapest part of e-liquid creation, so don't even worry about it. You don't want to use water, because the water, PG is an ingredient in the e-liquid, so you know that it's not going to get left behind. It will end up getting vaped out, where if you put water in it, you're going to end up with a puddle of water in the bottom of your atomizer. That can lead to rust, but mainly it'll lead to a terrible taste. Also, why you don't want to water down your liquids if they're too thick. Alright, so anyway, you're going to take PG and just kind of put it into the atomizer, and you're just going to blow through the PG a few times. Blow it, move it down on your tissue. Okay. Damn. Alright. Terrible lens for this. Anyway. So, now we're at the point where the PG is blowing through clear. There's no colored liquid coming through on it. It's just straight PG coming out of that atomizer. So if you're going to be storing it, you can stop at this point. This is all ready to be put away while you go play with rebuildables, do whatever. You can come back to this months later and it'll still be in the same condition, ready to use. But if you're changing flavors, you just reassemble. Throw it on your mod. Wish I had a wider lens. Alright, throw your drip shield back on. And since this is a fresh Atty, it'll be able to hold more juice than it would have if, yeah, I have no idea if this is focused. It will call that focused. So, it'll hold more juice than it would as you're continuing to vape on it and the juice is inside, but it's clean right now, so you can just drip. I like to put in, say, 6 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And with these small drip tips, more often than not, the juice is going to get, stuck on the sidewall, so you just kind of blow into it. You'll be able to hear the tone of the whistle change when if you pop a bubble. So here we go. You can hear how it gurgles a little bit, but it's not super gurgly. So I know this isn't flooded, but it's also not dry. So this should vape pretty well. A little bit flooded. All right, so yeah. One of the most important things that you can learn as a dripper is to listen to your atomizer. So let me flood this real quick. Put in like 3 more drops. So now we got like 8, 9 drops in here. That's a lot of juice. So with a slow draw, you're still getting a pretty good vape out of it, but if you were to draw too hard on this, you'd get hot juice thrown into your mouth, and your vapor production is much less than it would be if you had the correct ideal proportions of liquid in there. But what you can do is, first thing I do when I pick up my device is, gravity will pull juice down. So I take a quick pull without firing, just like that. That will pull the juice into the drip tip above the atomizer. And then what you can do is, by controlling the tilt, you can control how much of that juice is actually getting to the coil. So here, you're going to get a lot more gurgling than, say, here. So you're just going to adjust your tilt to work around the flooding if you flood your atomizer. Also, this battery is probably around like 377, 38. It's getting a little low. I should have put a fresh battery in here for demonstrating purposes, but my bad. I suck at reviewing shit. So there you go. Dripping is extremely simple. If you're not going to be using a rebuildable, you're definitely going to want a drip shield. These work on 510 atomizers, 901 atomizers, and 306 atomizers. They are available from empiremods.com. They sell their special anodized aluminum ones. They also sell stainless steel ones from China. They're cheaper. And Avid Vapor also sells Delrin ones from China. They don't work very well. They're too narrow on the inner diameter is far too narrow, and it seems like it doesn't hold juice. This is meant to hold juice in between the outside of the drip tip and the drip shield itself, whereas the one from Avid Vapor just seems to kind of hold everything in the atomizer. So when I got the Empire one, it was like night and day. So I definitely recommend picking one up from Empire Mods if you're going to get one. They're also the original creator of the drip shield, so help them out, support their innovation. They're a good vendor too. But yeah, it's very simple. Just takes a little bit of practice, and after you sit down with it for a little while, you'll be able to learn the characteristics of the atomizer. You'll be able to listen to it, and you'll be able to understand what it's trying to tell you. So yeah, that's about it. I feel like I'm going to start rambling at this point, repeating stuff if I continue on. But if you have any questions, just post them in the comments. I'll reply to you, and hopefully be able to provide you with an answer. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for your support. Have a great day. Real quick, one thing I forgot is, if you're going to be using a drip shield with a 306, you need to make sure you have a XL drip tip. Due to the fact that there's no barrel on the atomizer, you need that longer drip tip for the drip shield to go over. So make sure you pick one of those up as well if you're going to be getting 306 atomizers and a drip shield. So